Did you experience revenge fantasies as a child against your parents or maybe other adults in your life, such as the dentist or teachers? Well, I'm here to tell you that that was absolutely normal. And I'm going to share with you some things that happen in adulthood in response to repressing those fantasies as a child. My name is Sophia Voss. Welcome to my channel where I talk about growing up in a dysfunctional household, attachment styles, and other topics related to psychology. So, revenge fantasies. The desire for revenge is a normal human condition, and it comes from feelings of humiliation, anger, being slighted, unjust, all these kind of emotions in which we feel harmed or hurt, right? And the revenge fantasies are totally normal. It's totally normal to experience them as an adult and as a child. So this is a very dark topic, and I'm looking at it through a lens of depth psychology, psychoanalytic theory, and I'm willing to go there with you. And I'm talking about fantasies, not actual action. So the actual action of taking revenge against someone, like punishing someone physically, that is not acceptable, right? And if you have a strong urge to do that, I urge you to contact appropriate parties and also to contact the legal system if you're feeling that you have been, really slighted, treated very unjustly. I'm only talking about fantasies in this video. So the desire to inflict pain onto the perpetrator, right? And the desire for revenge is usually quite proportional. So it's when you experience deep feelings of humiliation that you experience these like intense visual images towards a party, or deep feelings of pain, sadness, hurt, where you really have intense fantasies about how you want that person to suffer, whether you want to inflict pain on them or you want them to just suffer in other ways. And or it can be like something like maybe someone like cut you in line in a way that was kind of slightful to you, and you just have kind of a passing thought like, oh, you might want to like hit that person over the head, or have a negative thought about that individual, and it kind of goes away, unless that individual also fits into a cast of characters who have hurt you before. So if you categorize that person and you have that association with whatever kind of cast of characters you feel have been harmful to you, then even something small like that can really set off a cascade of ruminating and thinking. And usually those fantasies don't just go away on their own. They have to be discharged somehow. And not discharged in a way where you actually take action, but discharged from a psychological standpoint. So what happens when a child experiences revenge fantasies, let's say, towards their parents, right? It could be very scary for the child. The child might begin to feel like, wow, there's something that is wrong with me. I'm wrong for experiencing these fantasies. And there's these feelings of guilt and shame that are usually prevalent. Usually these feelings of guilt and shame come up with this feeling of fear, right? The child can become very afraid to experience these visual images. And so the revenge fantasies are also, when they're against people who we are attached to, we have an emotional attachment or a dependency, there's more of a likelihood to repress them because those fantasies feel fundamental to our survival. So we feel like our survival might be threatened because we're experiencing these revenge fantasies in connection to someone we love or share a positive attachment to or depend on. And so we try to repress those fantasies. And so two things can kind of happen with the fantasies and with the repression of them. One is entering a state of hypomania in adulthood, and the other one is introjective depression. So a lot of things can happen, but I'm going to talk about these two states. And so I'll start off with the hypomanic state. So in a hypomanic state, the person begins to experience these fantasies and they begin to feel this strong desire to triumph over the perpetrator. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it could be a bully too in school, but to triumph, to make themselves greater, bigger, more successful, more powerful. and they get this drive. And so hypomania looks like having a lot of energy, liking big ideas, big theories, big thoughts, wanting to go after those kind of grand endeavors and having the energy to do that. What happens is the minimization of certain emotions, feelings, minimization of other people, like not wanting to believe that you can really need to depend on someone, not wanting to believe that you need people. Also minimization of details, so not paying attention to details, but just only paying attention to the grand ideas. And so where things can kind of go wrong with this, with the hypomania that results from the desire to triumph over the parents, the grandiosity, is then the feelings of guilt kick in. So as the person is going to reach their goal, feelings of guilt, feelings like if I actually do become grand, I might annihilate someone. And the person begins to pull back. And that pulling back kind of results in some form of self-sabotage. The person all of a sudden begins to feel like, oh, no, I don't want this responsibility. I actually don't really want this money. Oh, I don't actually want this relationship. Because possibly if I get this fame or success or something that I want, I could annihilate other people. So I'm just going to back off, right? And this could be a very unconscious process, which is why in this kind of like hypomanic state, it's really important to pay attention to your feelings, to your sensations, to your thoughts. If you're going after a goal, watch yourself. What happens when you're almost there? What happens? What comes up not only in your thoughts, but in your emotions and in the physical sensations? Like, why are you kind of backing away from it, right? And so just sitting in that experience and giving it space, giving it room to breathe, even that guilt, even that shame, allowing for the space for that to come in can actually help you overcome it and to reach and achieve your goals. So that's the kind of like the one state, the desire to triumph, and that's externalizing. And there is, there's really power in that. The other state that can kind of occur with people is the introjective depression. So the child begins to experience these revenge fantasies, and they begin to feel like, oh no, there's something really seriously wrong with me. I'm terrible, I'm shameful. So this feeling of intense shame, guilt, and worthlessness. And that looks in adulthood sometimes as becoming kind of submissive, as losing your voice, like self-silencing, not feeling like you want or need anything, compliance, people-pleasing, inability to express yourself, and inability to give yourself room to grow, to flourish, right? And so that could be on the more innocent side, and it can become more severe, like not giving yourself nourishment, like food, or not bad hygiene, even not entering relationships. Also really terrible things like self-cutting, for example, like these really deep states of worthlessness, states that you don't deserve something, this feeling of deep shame that you don't even deserve to take up space, that even being in this room, even speaking, even sharing your opinion is somehow, you're not even worth that, right? Because there's this deep feeling of there must be something seriously wrong with me because I've had these kind of feeling states and these thoughts, and I want to move away from them, so I'm going to kind of silence myself and pull back and decide that I'm unworthy, so I'm not even going to try, right? And so this kind of introjective depression is something that can come in from repressing those revenge fantasies, not giving space, not giving room for anger. So how to work with those, how to process those revenge fantasies? Well, you want to give yourself a lot of self-compassion and to just become aware that these revenge fantasies are normal. This is why I wanted to make this video, is because with working with people, sometimes with some people, when these revenge fantasies come up and folks learn that actually it's very normal, like that gives them a lot of relief. Like that in its own, like just understanding that it's normal can already feel so freeing. And then further than that, giving those fantasies room, giving them space, giving the space to experience the guilt that comes along with them, the shame that comes along with them, the physical sensations. When you learn what physical sensations you are experiencing, you can pick up on them much quicker and give them more room to be, and thus still move on with whatever it is that you have set for yourself in life. And so giving those fantasies room to breathe, having another party that is there to witness and to explore with you and to allow you that room, that in itself can already give that energy movement, right? That psychological energy that I was talking about in the beginning. You want to move through those thoughts, move through those emotions, and having someone to move with can be really helpful. So identifying those fantasies and what happened back then and the emotions that you experience and how those patterns are showing up in your life now, either through that kind of depressive state, feeling unworthy, or the self-sabotaging with the hypomania of wanting to triumph. And so I am available for private sessions if you're interested in exploring this with me. All the links are included below. Also, check out my 8-week course for adult children of alcoholics, where I talk about dysfunctional families, symptoms that occur in adulthood, and I also give you specific exercises to work on independently. Every week there is a list of worksheets and exercises that I have folks complete, and all the links are included. Comment on this video. How did you feel watching this video? What was coming up for you? What are some feelings, some sensations, some thoughts? Also, let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to do my best to answer your questions in my Q&A videos, and hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my other videos. Take care.